Hi, my name is Dan Paulson, and welcome to the video. I recently just responded to a friend of mine with some answers to a question, and he thanked me and said something about the sexual stuff going on in the world. Maybe talk about that sometime. And you know what? I guess I decided to. This is not my area typically. I just go for kind of interpreting material and trying to apply it. However, that's not happening. So I'm trying to talk about some other things. This one is definitely not something other than my personal opinion. That's it. I've got strong thoughts on it. I think that the world is looking pretty crazy. Specifically, what I want to talk about is what, seems to be this confusion among some people about what a man and a woman is and all that kind of stuff. And you can get really caught up in that. I do not take a close look at that. It isn't a part of my life. I have a larger view of what's going on, and I am not concerned about that in humanity. There's other issues going on, but this is what I want to do. I want to take a look at it, but from standing way back, okay? I'm not going to get into what are the proper gender pronouns and who this, who that. I don't even care about all that. There's something bigger in the background going on that I want to focus on. All those details are details to get caught up in. Leave them alone. We're going to go and look at this from the higher self. We're going to go to a different mental space and examine it through cause and effect and see something different than what is in your face. We got to look at what's driving this. All right, let's get started. The way that I'm going to do it here is we're just going to do this in our imagination. We're going to talk through things. We have that capacity. That is what we're supposed to do. There is a teaching that comes from Jesus that roughly says that if somebody wants your coat, give them that and, give them more. Or if somebody wants you to walk a mile, then do that and go further. There's this idea that we're supposed to go farther than putting ourselves in somebody else's shoes. Let me go ahead and try to put myself in your position and see how you feel. That's an important thing to do. But here is what the next step is. Now, step outside of both of yourselves and look at it. Don't be yourself and don't be the other person. Be the higher self looking at it from there. That's where we're going to go. We're going to employ that technique and take a look at what's happening on planet Earth. Now, regardless of the source of the material and the supernatural carrying case, there's nature inside of here. There's something that is very tangible. It's science-based. That's where I'm going. If anybody wants to listen to this and you're a creationist and you're bringing the problem is that there's sin and guilt, please don't even make a comment. We're trying to figure out what's going on, okay? Supernatural does not belong here anymore. We'll step right into the imagination. I am coming from far away. I'm a species that is not an earthling, that is not so fragile and afraid. I've learned that there's something bigger. And that's where I'm looking from. And I look down on planet Earth and see these arrogant little creatures down there that are full of themselves. And you look around and go, they don't know a damn thing. Boy, they sure think they do. And they're killing themselves with ignorance. Ignorance is the biggest problem in humanity. You're going to claim supernatural? That's ignorant. I don't even want to talk about that. Let's get real. Let's figure out what's going on. Drop the guilt, drop the judgment, drop the accusation, drop your fear, and we're going to look at what is really there. Okay, we evolved. Anybody, if you can't get past that right there, this is not your video. We need to figure out what is going on. And the people who deny evolution are the ones that are not seeing what is truly happening. They will not. We need to open our eyes. Convinced of supernatural is eyes slammed shut, mind closed. Fear. I want this to be so true, I don't care about anything else. That is a closed mind. We need to get out of humanity and look at it from a distance. And the reason I say that is you've got a group of people down there that are so ignorant that they just look at that behavior and go, that's sinful, it's deviant, it's something somehow, it's hell-driven, it's demonic, it's whatever. That's not what it is. You people saying that, you're the most unaware humans on the planet. You have massive amounts of knowledge that is all wrong. Every bit of it. Okay, you know what? I was supposed to talk about what there is, and I'm sitting here bashing Christian. Guess what resides in my mind? What's emerging from my garden? Do you see that? This is how it works. Okay. Here we are looking at Earth. We see it millions of years ago. We see it millions of years in the future. We see what's going on in the universe. We see it expanding. We see it growing. We see things emerging, exploding, carbon developing, humans of eventually downstream life, all of it. We are downstream, way downstream of what is going on. And in the process of going from chemical to chemical organic driven life, that somehow, whatever happens in the process, something happens. Here we are. And we can see by watching animals and looking through the kingdom and development, where we come from, where we fit in this chain, that we are at the top of the chain as far as life on planet Earth and animals, as far as capacity but anyway. So what I see long ago is that in humanity, for it to survive, there's some things that have to be in action. Number one, there's a fear of death and a desire to live. Those two things. We got fear. You got to eat things and you got to not be eaten. Number one. Number two. Number three, you got a desire to procreate. We do, don't we? You grow up, you get a certain point, boys, you can't even control yourself. Carry books in front of you at that age in school. There's points in development you look at and go, there's some natural, normal things going on that had nothing to do with guilt or religion or anything like that. They're processes that humans go through. There's desires. There's all the things that you go through. The woman takes how long before orgasm? The man, very quick. What is that? Why would that be? Why would that be? Man, hurry up, move. Let's go. Procreate. Sex is going to be an incredible drive for survival. Humans take 9 months to produce one child that is so fragile. It takes so much work back then to keep this alive. Oh my God. Yeah, you better be pumping out kids because most of them aren't going to make it. You're a lucky one if you did. That's what's happening down there. So at some point in time, they finally make it, they emerge, and what are they still doing? They're still afraid, and they still screw everything. They still can't stop producing. Meanwhile, they made it. Their planet is only so big. They've developed a certain amount. There's a part of this mindset in the background that's saying, produce more, produce more, produce more, produce more. No abortion. We don't care. Produce. They don't even care what happens to them afterwards. Same group that wants you to have kids wants to build more jails. What the hell is that? Those humans are doing the wrong thing. They're not understanding what's going on. And the people who are within that group being called deviant are the people who are preserving humanity by exercising their desires without pumping more children into the environment. You're going to have sex, then do it without, be male, be female, doesn't matter. Be responsible. But we're not, are we? We keep filling in planet Earth. Take a 100-gallon terrarium, fixed. Put a mating pair of frogs in there. Put them inside, seal it. Let it go forever. How long before they all die? Do they regulate themselves? We're those frogs that are not regulating ourselves. And we're in a fixed terrarium. I look at that and watch them and go, wow, there's some stupid people down there. They are driving themselves to their own demise by using the same mechanisms that got them to emerge. More kids, more kids, more kids, more kids. At some point you got to go, okay, stop. The planet isn't growing. The thing is what we know is that children become products of their mental experiences. And so when people are making children be born into environments where the opportunity for that structure to not be good is there, you're going to create people that don't know what to do, that don't know how to function other than just kind of basic back to instinct sort of things. And that's not good for society. And it creates conditions where now they want to build jails to put the people in. They want the police to get all of the homeless and take them out and dump them in the desert someplace or something somewhere. Now that we've created this mess, we don't want to deal with it. We'll create it, but we don't see the ramifications or the repercussions of it. People are thinking very locally. This is what I want. I don't care what happens in the bigger scope. We're all part of that bigger scope. But people are too selfish. I look at that and go, yeah, there's nothing wrong with what those people are doing. There's something wrong with the people that are stopping them, that aren't seeing the bigger picture, and that this is probably a normal process. Where is that drive going to go? The fear goes to what? Still killing people. Where does your sex drive go? I mean, if you can live masturbating, go for it. If life is real and you're going to be with people, and we're going to be humans, and we're going to be expressing what is very much a part of the DNA that drives us. Doesn't it feel good to have sex, to have an orgasm? These are really intense. You don't just turn that off or say, "Oh, that's guilt." And now people that people that have had abortions that don't want anybody else to now, you anti-abortionists, guess what? You need to take care of your problems. You're anti-gay people, guess what? What was your childhood like? Your fruits are showing. What is it that you complain about? That's your issue right there. Resolve your past. Don't keep feeding guilt to the world, and let people that are, the harder you push against somebody who's just doing what they're born to. I feel a certain way. I want to live my life this way. And it doesn't hurt anybody. And it doesn't produce offspring. What the hell is the problem with that? So what if that boy wants to wear a dress? Isn't that a Kink song? Lola. It's a mixed up word. I don't remember the lyrics. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing new here. So I think that homosexuality or, sexual variations like that are just going to be what you're born with. There's DNA variations. You're born with certain qualities. Did you choose them? Nope. Bingo. Here they are. How do you feel? What do you like? You're born with that. So you like boys or you like girls and you live that way, and somebody else thinks you're sinful and hates you for it, and they judge you for it and they put you down for it, and you feel guilty and you feel like shit. Meanwhile, you're just born that way, trying to live your life. Wondering why people don't like you because you're then what happens? At some point you fight back. At some point it gets bigger. At some point it gets outlandish. At some point it's like, yeah, up yours back, buddy. Stop pushing me around. I got my rights too. Boom, 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 boom. Whatever we fight grows bigger and bigger. And the people down there that don't like it, you're making it happen. Christians, you make atheists. And I mean militant atheists by being militant Christians. So as I watch humanity down there, what I see is that the people who are in charge and the people who are driving things, the people that are in with guilt and have all the supernatural beliefs are the very group that's the evolutionary strong group right there that is driving humanity right through its ecosystem. That is still in place, and they're not smart enough to figure it out. Not aware enough. It's nope. I, me, my life, my life, my life. They can't see the future. They can't see the past. They deny where we come from. Then they complain somebody out there is dressing up like a boy or a girl in the wrong thing and calling themselves something and then having sex and not producing children. So what? They're preserving life on planet humanity by making sure we don't overpopulate, but we are anyway. In fact, if I were to look at it from I'm a scientist from a distant planet observing, what is this culture like? What are they doing? How does it work that way for them? I would have a lot of questions about how they function so differently in one planet. I would be astounded at the variations. Actually, what it would tell me is that despite the fact that humanity down there might think of itself so advanced that it's the cock of the walk in the universe, that it is actually still in very primitive stages. And it would have to be something you understand at some point, that you look at and realize that probably that variation that's happening where people are moving more and more, maybe we're just becoming more and more aware of it. But this increase, this growth, it seems like, or public knowledge and awareness of this variation between, it's no longer just man, woman, have kids, man, woman, have kids, man, woman, have kids. There's all kinds of variations now. And man, woman, have kids is a good way to start, but at some point, that ecosystem is too full. Is somebody that has something different, that they're not making conscious decisions saying, I'm going to do something different and explore something different. This is just a natural process. I would look at that and say it seems like an evolutionary process for preservation of a species to begin converting to a way of life that your drives are still in place, but they're not producing the same results. It's no longer filling up your ecosystem. I would look at that and think, that's probably a natural process. And they're down there treating it like it's like people are making decisions or doing things just to be assholes. Boy, those are some stupid people down there. The population is growing. The planet is not. You don't even have to do the math on that one. You just have to think using 2 or 3 little connections. It doesn't take much. Anyway, I don't have a problem with the sex stuff. I have a problem with people making big issues about it and making it huge and hating and going. It's like, pay attention to what the problem is in the world. It's not your neighbor's bedroom. If they're not hurting people, if they're not molesting, if they're not hurting underage, there's things that we have in society that must be abided by. But if it's people that are born a certain way, that are expressing themselves and living their life happily and not hurting anyone, leave them the hell alone. If you're going after them, that's because you're guilt. You're freaking guilt. Makes me think the church is full of perverts. And that's not true. The church is huge. There are people in the church that believe, we need to be more in line with the idea that people are born a certain way. Stop hating everybody that isn't somebody that shares our fears. Anyway, okay, so that's my thoughts from a spaceman passing by, looking at Earth, going, boy, those guys aren't making it. They're not doing very good. They are supernaturalist fears. There are people down there that think they are the universe's God-given right to existence above everybody and everything else. Those are animals down there. Notice how I keep becoming myself and then standing back out here. You kind of go back and forth between those. So as I look at this and I give a final overview of my report as we move along in space to the next place, we're explorers out here looking at things. I would say, well, here's a planet that it's got a fairly good lifespan, millions and millions of years it's going to be able to support life. It has been for a long time. It is in a life cycle of its own. And that so is the sun and everything else, that this is the time for life to be here. This is the right time. And that the creatures that did emerge down there, that began to think, had to control themselves by using supernatural means. It's tribes of people that are killing each other, and at some point in time, when you get bigger and bigger and you start working together, you have to come up with something else. It's just too much slaughter. That still happens. War still happens. Slaughter still happens. But you can look at it and go, well, they may have made it more sophisticated, but they're still doing the same thing. But working together, trying to figure out how to coexist, all of that, having Big Brother overhead, fear into the people, that already plays on fear. Your fear of death, what are you going to do? Okay, we can hook right into that. You don't have to die. Believe in this. Okay, bingo. So we're working on this. These people down there are working on ways to make themselves feel better. But in doing so, they're pretending something that is not real instead of figuring out what is real. They're finding an easy way out. And the easy way out is that you don't really have to look at it. So they're not looking at what is reality. They're simply hanging on to a fantasy that makes them feel better. So that is what is happening. And then meanwhile, that overpopulation is happening. There seems to be within their evolutionary process down there among that creature that's called humans. Well, the animals do it too. They play with each other. They, bonobos, one after another. Come on, guys, let's go. That the evolutionary process looks normal. That if this species who needs to maintain a sex drive in case the population is suddenly diminished, it needs to still be in place for survival. But right now, it needs to not be employed because it's working against the survival, the longevity of the survival of that species. Nobody's in control of it. It looks like it's natural and normal, and it looks like it grows and escalates back and forth with their efforts to shut things down or quell things or whatnot. That humanity is kind of ignorant, and they're so caught up in it that they can't see the big picture, and that they're just not going to get it, that they're going to live through their fears and their judgments and their supernatural beliefs and not see what is truly happening. And that is a sad thing, because it makes some people feel very good about themselves while not caring that other people are feeling horrible or having a terrible life, painful. Okay, and I also want to say before I finish that I'm obviously not a geneticist, and I'm talking about evolution as if evolution is somehow driving the boat, and it doesn't. Evolution is whatever continues to function and survive out there continues to function and survive. So it doesn't look to me, honestly, like evolution is somehow helping humanity. But I think that somehow the idea of not procreating, I mean, like the sex needing, the drive needing to stay in place, that's something that would be there or not. If the sex drive leaves humanity, what would happen? Humanity would stop. The sex drive has to always be there, and it always will be there. So it's just better to have it not continually produce. Have you ever seen groups who want the anti-abortion groups who also don't want gay people to then adopt children who come from unwanted homes? You get this wrapped up idea of, well, people are not thinking. Yeah, they want the kids out there. They care until that kid is born, then boom, that's it. As long as the kid is born, we don't care. We don't care what happens to it now that it has feelings. Yeah, that's backwards. I drifted back down into being an earthling again. Anyway, okay, so I'm not advocating that we, make changes, abortion, that we automatically function in some way. That's what happens down there when you get caught up in the details. When you stand back here, what you say is, those people all need to figure out what's going on. They don't even agree. They can't work it out because some people believe it's natural and some people believe it's supernatural and that it's sinful and it's done by choice. They don't understand it's a DNA drive. They can't function together because they can't even agree on what the real drive is for it. They don't have the cause figured out of this effect. Some do, many do not. Most do not. Most prefer the fear and the guilt option as opposed to you're born that way. I went back and added this in. I think I wanted to say as an overview that, the way that it gets so crazy with people, the pronouns, the dressing, the you call me this, that, it just gets so much into it that you're like, whew. I still recognize that there is a male and a female of the species that between the two can have variations between them that I just recognize it's there because there are variations everywhere else. Why not there too? It's just the way it is. Talk to people. And ask yourself, what choice did you make? You're born a certain way. So when I look at the issue of it getting more and more outlandish, I don't think that is, I think that is based in the idea that humans need something to do, that they fight for something. And when you try to take somebody's rights away from them, that you're going to continue to see an escalation on they want what you have. We all want to have the same thing. That's it, period. But other people think, what I have is something that you shouldn't have. You shouldn't have what I have. So really, that's what it boils down to. And then people get crazier and crazier about it just to get more and more in your face because they're getting beat harder and harder for being that way. At some point, you just look at it and go, you guys can't see this? It's like this teeter-totter starts off back and forth, but as time goes on, it gets bigger and bigger, and the kids get bigger and bigger, and it swings farther and farther each time. And you can't interrupt that by continuing to go at it. We make the situations worse by driving at them instead of just going, yeah, be the way you are. I'm married to my wife. You two guys want to be married? You two girls want to be married? I don't care. That's fine. You should have the same rights I do. We're humans here trying to figure out life. We're not supernaturalists trying to pump out more kids. All right, in closing, I want to say that in this video, what I've tried to do is identify what I see as far as that issue, as far as a resolution, as far as population, as far as things like that. I have not offered up anything. This is a much bigger picture than just putting down a 20-minute video or something like that. That's ridiculous. It's a big problem. It's really big. And we have to look at it in large numbers. What are the chances? Okay, well, those are my thoughts on it on this in this day and age, I guess. I think that it's not the issue to worry about. Keeps people busy, focused on something that shouldn't be the focus of humanity. Seriously. People need to get lives. All right. That, you know what? We're too crowded. You don't have lives. There's nothing to do. You just pick on each other. All right. See you in the next video.